So I've been going around online and I've been having conversations about the upcoming Gabe Cube or the new Steam machine, however you really want to phrase it, right? And one of the things that keeps getting thrown around most recently is what's it going to cost? And to me, being that I am, very big on PC and open platform gaming, is that doesn't really seem to be the biggest concern here. At least to me, that doesn't seem like it really should even be the big topic of conversation at this point. Because there's one bigger concern to me that stands out immediately over any price speculation that you could possibly be throwing around, and that's compatibility with games and actually tackling the market that it's aiming at, which is console gaming. Now, to be clear, I own a Steam Deck. I've done a lot of gaming on this. In 2024, and leading into 2025, I was doing a lot of gaming on that. Um, for a variety of reasons, it doesn't really matter. But I was doing almost all of my gaming exclusively on my Steam Deck, and one of the first things you'll realize when you play on a Steam Deck or any device that runs Steam OS or Linux specifically is the compatibility with games available to you is not great. So one of the first things going on right nowadays is that you need a TPM chip and Windows 11 to be able to play many of the games that are coming out, right? Because the anti-cheat is built into that now, so it requires it, which can't do in Linux. Uh, for whatever reason, a lot of these games just don't run on Linux. Whether that's the TPM chip just not being in computers or Linux compatibility layers just not working, or the software just straight up says we don't want to work with Linux. You just can't do it for whatever reason. So you end up with these situations where you just can't play. Like you can boot this, right now and play like Fallout 76, right? I can play that on here. It runs decently, but I can do it, and it's thanks to the compatibility layer, right? And I can do that just the same on my computer. I can also play like Helldivers, Ghost of Tsushima, all these big popular console games. Even Halo fucking runs on there, right? Not Guardians. I'm sorry. I should specify. The Master Chief Collection runs on there. I don't know about like Halo 5 Guardians, if that even is available to play on there. I bet you it is somehow. And Infinite or whatever newest one is. I've stopped paying attention since 4. But Microsoft games will run on there. I think Sea of Thieves ran on there at one point, if it doesn't anymore. I know GTA 5 no longer does. I know they got rid of that. So that, compatibility issues are a serious thing, even with the existing Steam Deck, right? And I'm coming from a place of I own and actively use the original Steam controller. I have 2 Steam Links. I don't know where one of them is, but I think one of the other one's still in storage because I moved and I don't have everything yet. But I don't just have one. I don't just have 2. And I don't just have 3, I have a 4th one that's sitting with that Steam Link in its storage container. So I know what I'm talking about when I say that one of the biggest issues with the original run of these things was Valve making weird shit and doing weird decisions that they're targeting the console demographic but not thinking it through properly. One of the first issues was price back in the day, and at price and just why are there 15 options and some of them are over $1,000 and then some of them are relatively affordable and more console like in price. So even if this ends up being like $800, which is a low end PC, which is about the spec range that they're targeting, I think currently a lot of people are speculating, well, it's going to be priced like a PC and it's better than the majority of people in the Steam hardware survey, which depending on how you look at it could be low end, could be mid end, but they're also saying they're going to target 4K 60 FPS with FSR turned on. So no idea what's going on there, but it's not doesn't bode well. I don't really know how else to phrase it. But at the end of the day, you're ending up with a situation where it's like, well, anything with the entry level Steam Deck was incredibly expensive, and the original kind of uh, hardware for the Steam machines or Gabe Gabe Cube or whatever the fuck we want to call it these days, wasn't exactly a booming success, and people are like, oh, like Bellular News was coming out and was like, oh, they're really going hard on this. They seem like they fixed all the issues. They know where this is going. They know what to do. I disagree because a lot of people are still bringing up the price, which is a big concern. But once again, we're missing the compatibility deal. We know Call of Duty's not going to run on it. We know Battlefield's not going to run on it. We can already tell that there's just no way that, Grand Theft Auto is going to run on this thing. 5 or probably not 6 either. We know that none of the EA Sports titles are going to run on it. And no matter how powerful the box is, if it's running SteamOS or Linux by default, you're not going to be able to run most of the games that console players are looking to play on this thing. And we already know that games like when Dragon Ball Sparking Zero came out, right? We saw that because of Linux, it did not run well on the Steam Deck. You had no online play. It would kick you instantly for no reason. And this was never fixed, even now, right? So we know that there are serious issues that extend beyond just the Proton compatibility layer, right? And I've gone and I've modded this shit out of my Steam Deck, right? And I go as far as to even add my own custom fucking, like, individual fucking thumbnails and heroes and fucking all sorts of bullshit to my games, even on regular desktop, let alone on my fucking Steam Deck, right? Like, I am an enthusiast of enthusiasts out here. If I'm doing this and I'm telling you that this is already kind of an annoying process where every time my Steam Deck gets updated, half of my shit just breaks for weeks until it gets an update from, the actual, like, I guess you call them hardware mod, software mod developer. Until that gets an update, I'm just shit out of luck on things like the fucking games even having the right, like, boot sequence where, like, it'll just brick half the time, so it just doesn't load at all because whatever audio system is just broken now. Like, if that's already happening, and that's just me optimizing things to be personally how I like them to be, can you imagine that a console player who's coming from like a PlayStation or an Xbox is going to really want to do all this extra work on the side where they have to now go and install Windows on this? One of the big complaints that they already have against PC gaming is that it has too much work, right? They're always saying, oh, we have to worry about the drivers and we have to worry about this, and we have to worry about that. Well, by default, they're already going to have to install Windows on this thing because they're not going to have access to half the library games that they're going to want to play. Because, like I said, they're not going to get any of the EA Sports titles, which are incredibly popular on console, especially on PlayStation. They're not going to get access to Battlefield or Call of Duty because those require the TPM chip, and they just straight up don't run on Linux half the fucking time, if at all anymore. Grand Theft Auto has been completely removed from, Linux support. I don't know if that's Linux or just the Steam Deck, but it wouldn't matter because at this point, we just the expectation it's not going to work. Valve keeps saying, oh, we're going to get the majority of games are going to be, we're going to add compatibility layers and we're going to work on getting it. And we even work with developers directly, right? Like, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the price is. It doesn't matter what we speculate the price is going to be. And it doesn't even matter how much the performance is good if the operating system and all of the games that don't run because of that are going to stay a persistent issue, right? And as I've said, I love me some Valve hardware. I love me some goofy controllers, and I love me some, mobile gaming with my PC library. Now, obviously, I've stopped using this nearly as much because now I just straight up have a laptop with a fucking 4090 in it. So this is just purely an ease of access kind of device. So I think I'm qualified to say on this topic that I know what I'm saying, and I know the history of these devices. Why am I the only one who's really talking about this? Why am I the only one who's realizing this? Why are people like Linus only talking about the price? Why is Bellular making up shit where it's like it's gonna be really good, it's gonna be good. They're pushing out the target. They're targeting console players. Why are we not talking about this? This has been an ongoing issue for multiple years now where we're just not bringing this up. Whereas, like, we've had a suspicion that Valve was trying to push into the console market because they started making hardware. Like, we knew that they were pushing into the mobile console market, so we should have naturally expected this issue to come up over time, right? Because if a Steam Deck 2 does come out, and we don't address the issue of half the fucking games that people are going to want to play don't fucking run, you're not going to be able to win over the target demographic, which is console players. Because at this point, the only people who are even interested in this thing are people like me who already have weird gaming controllers. I have a fucking racing wheel. I had a fucking fight pad at one point. I've got a fucking flight stick. I've got all sorts of bullshit. Like, I even have a VR headset over in the fucking corner. Like, I'm the target demographic for this console, not console players. Enthusiasts are who's gonna care, not the console players. Why are we doing this again? Where the device has been announced, we're dick riding Valve and ignoring the actual problem and adding in small issues that don't really matter. Why are we doing this again? This is exactly why the last one failed. Because we focused on dumb shit and didn't address the main concern. And again, why am I the only one realizing this? Somebody at Valve clearly has to have realized this. This can't be this fucking hard. Like, is nobody at Valve playing the fucking games anymore? Because fuck me, that's sad. You guys aren't making them anymore half the time. And if the rumor that is going around is true, that we're getting Half-Life 3 when this thing releases, well, fuck me. I really hope it's not what the leaks have been over the years, because oh, dude, that was a disaster. I'm not even going to get into that, but I really hope you guys fix that. I hope you figured that problem out, because dear God, you didn't fix Team Fortress 2. And CS2 is worse than fucking CSGO ever could have fucking been. So I don't even play that anymore, and I used to love CSGO. I used to play the fuck out of CSGO. I mean, you fixed the bot crisis for Team Fortress 2, so we know that somebody over there gives a shit. But it's like, clearly they don't give a shit about the console. They don't give a shit about the hardware, right? I don't know anymore. So, fuck me, I guess. I guess I'm the only one thinking these days. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not expecting it to go well, but we'll see how it fucking goes, I guess. So it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm pissed off about fucking Valve hardware, but, whatever. Standard Friday into Saturday, I guess, for me. Hell, this could have been a Tuesday. I could have made this days ago, but I'm a lazy bastard. So it happens. So, that's Vidania. Read it there, Chi. Get the fuck out of here, boys.